My name's Anne. I run a small web design and development agency called On Idle, and today I'm going to tell you just a little bit about how I came to be here today, and show you a couple of bits of work of what we're doing. So you're going to get a lot of different inputs today. A lot of it is very non-commercial, whereas I'm unashamedly a commercial person in business practice today. So it should be quite interesting for you to see that there is scope and opportunities. The first thing to do really is what you guys are all doing now is get educated, and that's not necessarily in terms of academic degrees, although theoretical knowledge and theoretical practice does help you when you have to do things like write proposals or write contracts. But at the end of the day, I didn't really know what I wanted to be. I studied law, I changed to communication studies, and eventually I ended up here doing a master's in interactive multimedia. So there's a couple of familiar faces over here. So I hope I don't bore you too much, but it should be all right. The long and short of it is, at the end of the day, I'm pretty much a jack of all trades, which has turned me into an ideal project manager. Whilst at university, I got different kinds of experience in different things, and the more experience you can get before you start up your own business, or before you start doing all sorts of strange things or working on your own projects, is to see how other people work and to decide what you like and what you don't like about those areas. So I've got a good background in radio, I've got a good background in student media, magazines, newspapers, but my first love always tended to move towards the realm of computers, design, user interfaces, and all those elements that go about that. You guys come on in, there's space in the back. So I sort of did my first job, which was kind of pure sales, which was horrendous. I hated every living second of it. From where I ended up in advertising on the strategic side of things. So again, I got a really good background in research, and I got knowledge in terms of working with big brands or corporate clients, which has got a different working practice to being a small business or a small organization, where the workflow is controllable, the people that you're working with, you've got a high chance of meeting. Advertising was great fun, but it was, for me, not quite the right thing, which is what made me come to London to come and do my MA in the end. Now, on the course, we had this delightful requirement to do a work placement, and I didn't feel like doing it, to be perfectly honest. I'd just come out of advertising, high stress. I was not in no mood to go and be a runner for someone. At this point in time, I'd also met now my business partner, Mark Peter, who's, unlike me, a properly trained topographer, graphic designer, so in the traditional sense of a word, a true professional. So the two of us bound together and we decided, we know what, we'll start a virtual agency and see what happens. And that's exactly what we did, and On Idle was born. We discovered that it's much easier, however, to register and start a business than to run one. There's a huge amount of support available for starting up, getting funding, all those sorts of things, although it's hard. It's really, really hard. But we did really well for about 2 years. We were at the cusp of the dot-com boom. Things were going swimmingly. We had a massive staff, 14 people or something, I think. And badoosh, the market crashed. And for us, it was particularly bad because our business is divided into European and UK-based businesses. A lot of our business comes from the Germanic market, mostly due to Mark's background. He's Swiss. And both markets crashed, so we basically had no work. This was a big decision moment for us in terms of, do you continue? Do I go back and go and work for someone? Because that always remains an option. Do I go and teach full time? I did a lot of teaching to earn some money, I can tell you. But basically, we changed our minds, whereas we started our business very much on a technological principle. We built content management systems in XML. We were developing download things for Dreamweaver. We were talking to then Macromedia, now Adobe. We were very much technical beings. It turns out technology is really expensive to develop. You need a lot of funding. You need a lot of research, you need a lot of resources, and you have no idea if you're ever going to make any of it back. So we shifted our focus slightly and became very much designers or promoting design online. So what On Idle has become is we build boxes or spaces for corporate businesses, and that's anything, media people, retailers, product designers, manufacturers, one-man trade, jewelry designers, all sorts of people, and we allow them to publish their content digitally online. So we don't create content, but we facilitate the publication of that in its various ways, shapes, and forms. So at the end of the day, Alan Seckers, who was my tutor on my MA, told me something very important, was always employ people who are smarter than you, and that really is worth it, because you learn from them and you're inspired from them, and then you work together. I made my day job. I decided what it was because I couldn't find anything that, I like doing all the time. I do come back occasionally and teach. I find it inspirational to talk to young people, to listen to your ideas, to see what you're on about. It keeps me on my toes. Some of the questions are quite hard, to be perfectly honest. But it's also a little way of giving something back because, 7, 10 years ago, this was a really different landscape. You really work hard when you run your own business. There's no such thing as 9 to 5. Holidays are few and far between, and it's difficult to organize them. But it's really important that you schedule your life so that you do take breaks, you do take weekends, because you do tend to burn out. You just sort of work, you get all impassioned, and it turns out that you're not delivering the quality that you're used to, or you're just plain burnt out, or you get bored. And that should never really happen, because running on idle for us, it's not so much as a business. Of course it's a business and it needs to be profitable, and you've got all the kind of people that you need to run and manage. But at the end of the day, it's my life. I'm lucky enough to have a hobby that's my day job. So it's more the business of living for me rather than just business pure. So it is quite personal.